Hello, and welcome to MBBA Learns webinar 2020 Goal Setting with me, Coach Paula, to start the decade right. Today is the first day of the new decade. It's January 1st, 2020. So thank you for joining us today. I am Paula Edgar, so you should be able to see me on the screen. I just want to do a quick check-in. If you are able to see me and hear me, raise your hand using the webinar dashboard. Wonderful. I see lots of hands raised. Awesome. So I'll keep going and tell you a little bit about myself. So I am the MBBA's treasurer and immediate past president. I am a partner in my own business, Inclusion Strategy Solutions, where I do diversity consulting, diversity training, professional development, coaching, and lots of other things to support leaders and employees and organizations on getting inclusion right. I do encourage you to look at my website and connect with me if you haven't, and that's a part of the homework for today. Anyway, so let's keep going. We're going to be using a tool to facilitate any questions that you have. I thank all of you who have submitted your questions and concerns in advance, but we're going to use a tool in order to ask questions. I just sent you an email, if you're registered, with a link that will allow you to ask questions or put in comments throughout the session. I'll be able to see them. I'm using two screens right now, feeling very tech savvy on 2020. But that'll be easier than me managing the webinar tool. So if you have a question, use that. You can either log on to menti.com and use this code, or you can use the link in the email that I sent you, which is the exact same thing. And so if you'd like to try it and say hi, feel free to do that. You can ask as many questions as you like or put as many comments as you like during the session. Alrighty, so there are a few of you who are not members of the Metropolitan Black Bar Association, and I would encourage you, both in my capacity as the treasurer and the immediate past president, to join. The MBBA is the largest Black Bar Association in New York State. We are a 3-time or 4-time award-winning affiliate of the year chapter of the National Bar Association, and really we are nothing without our members, and so we really hope that you will engage and join. And let me tell you about a couple of things that are coming up that will hopefully entice you. So our next event is on January 9th. It is New Revenue Generating Opportunities for Diverse Attorneys Through Dispute Resolution. That's going to be held at Blank Rome, and all of this information is on the MBBA's website, MBBA-NYC.org. And the next event is our annual Black History Month event, which honors Black judges in New York State. And so if you're a judge, I know there's a few judges who are on the line. Hi, y'all. Or if you're someone who supports judges, which hopefully should be all of us, please do come. It's one of our best events. It's at the Thurgood Marshall Courthouse. It's really special, and it's free. So please do sign up. The registration does become closed quickly. Don't want you to miss out. And then, for those of you who know me, my favorite event of the year, which is the MBBA's annual gala. It's going to be held on May 15th, 2020 this year. The hashtag MBBA Gala 20. You can buy tickets already. The early bird tickets will be up through the end of Black History Month, so do buy your ticket early. We do expect to sell out. We hit 1,000 attendees last year. Plan on doing that again this year. It's fun. It's an after party. You can reach out to me about any of those things if you'd like, or email us specifically at info@mbba-nyc.org. All right, now let's get to it. So we're talking about goal setting to start the decade right. And I've done this for those of you who've joined. I know there's some of you who've been on every year. I've done this for the past 3 years. It really is just a really special thing to connect with others in anticipation of hitting some of these goals that you have. As I sit here looking at my to-do list from last year that has merged and morphed into this year, I also use this as a catalyst for myself to get to some of the goals that I want to hit. And I'll talk a little bit about that. And if you have questions about that, let me know. And I have some of your questions already. As a reminder, we're going to be using the Menti tool for any questions that you have. So I would log on now or click the link now so that if something comes up, I'll be able to see it in real time while you have that question and respond then. I do have some of the questions people sent in advance that I will answer as we go through. But let's get to it. I really like this quote. The new year stands before us like a chapter in a book waiting to be written. We can help write that story by setting goals, by Melanie Beatty. Basically, nothing gets done unless you prioritize it. I mean, that's not true. Some things can get done if you don't prioritize it, but there's a momentum that happens when you say and set an intention and then actually have it happen. And so what I'm encouraging all of us to do today is sort of breathe into this new momentum for the decade, for the year, and saying, I'm going to say I'm going to do something and commit to myself and do it. And so I'm hoping that we all together will hold ourselves accountable to doing so as we go forward. So I asked some of you who were able to do the pre-survey, I asked, if you were not able to hit your goals, why not? And here's what you said. Fear was the biggest word on the screen. Lack of motivation, unfocused, overextended, unprepared, lack of knowledge, commitment, time management, lack of confidence, disorganization, haters, money, fatigue, work demand, no plans, distractions, too many projects, procrastination, I'm a pro at that, poor discernment, health, managers, limitations, resources. So basically, the things that didn't prevent you from hitting your 2019 goals were humanity, right? These things are all things that we probably can relate to in being challenging for us. 2019, I don't know about you all, but probably one of the toughest years that I have experienced, and I have a hypothesis about that. So politically and socially, the United States has been sort of inundated by sad stories, evil intentions, news stories that have been challenging. And because of that, I think it doesn't stay outside. It seeps into who we are and how we progress. And I'll just share with you very personally that I had a really hard time. For those of you who are on the call or the webinar last year, I had set some really, really robust goals, and I hit a lot of them. And so I want to pat myself on the back. But the biggest one that I wanted to get to, which is to complete my book, I was not able to do. But I did complete my book proposal, which is something more than what had happened last year. So I'll pat myself on the back for that and say, and when we're talking about the goals that we're setting, I will do the book this year. I do feel a lot different than I did in 2019, just in that I let a lot of the things that are on the screen get in the way, being overextended, not saying no, overcommitting, the demands of having my own business and new partner, all of those things got in the way. And so if that resonates for you, and it seems like it does, let's just take a minute to say, you know what, we're human, we're going to forgive ourselves, and we're going to try to do better. So I would like all of you, if you're not already, to have some kind of note paper in front of you for this, or have a screen up with a blank sheet of paper so that you can take some notes. This is not an opportunity for you to just sit here and listen to me. It is more a challenge to you to take this as an action step. Take this as the momentum that you need to actually visualize and set the goals that you want to complete this year. And there's a tool that I'm going to encourage you to use that I use, which has been really helpful to me as well. So hope you got your papers up. Hope you're ready to go. And let's talk about this. So what's the report card? So using your paper, and if you want to share online on using the Menti tool, you can tell me what your answers are. Again, I'm only the one seeing it. But what were your top 3 accomplishments of 2019? And I'm not going to put any qualifications on this. I think if it is, I got out of bed every day, cool, yay, because some people didn't, and I think that we are so hard on ourselves because we have expectations that exist that are above and beyond, sometimes what is reasonable. let's clap for what we did do. Um, like I said, I did my book proposal. I calculated this yesterday. I spoke in front of over 5,000 people this year, or last year. Um, I made more money in my business than I have in all of the years of my business put together. So I felt that I accomplished a lot. Um, but as you're writing down, thinking about that, don't think it doesn't have to be big. It just has to be something you consider. If it's, I went on 6 date nights with my spouse, or I started dating, or, I studied more than I had before. Think about what your accomplishments are. If you'd like, I see some people are sharing. So if you'd like to share using the mentee, please do. And let me know what some of those things are. I'll give you a second for that, and I'll keep talking through some of the other. I started with the accomplishments because it gives you a good momentum as you go in and think about what you have done. I don't like to start with the things that are challenging, but we have to get to them. If I flip back to that screen and talk about what were the obstacles, this is where this next question comes in. What were your greatest challenges in 2019? What was hard for you? What made it that you didn't accomplish some of the things? Somebody wrote in the pre survey about health challenges. I know, because I know a lot of you. Some of you have experienced some of the most challenging things that happen in life, which is marriage, divorce, moving, childbirth, new job, right? So those can be both accomplishments and challenges. So really, again, this is not a beat yourself up session. This is a let us get some clarity about what happened so that we can do better as we go forward. So if you think about those challenges, and I'll kind of work through these with you. I had some challenges communicating this year. And I think that I'm a really good communicator. So I had a few people who are close to me indicate that I was not connecting with them in the way that I thought that I was. And so I really took that to heart in hearing that I needed to do better, that I needed to listen to what they were saying to me and commit to doing better as I went forward. And so that was a challenge, right? Having strife either at work or at home or with friends is challenging, and it enables or it doesn't enable you to do some of the things that you want. As I see some of you are sharing some of those challenges, health issues, not losing weight, child, death of my father, the death of a parent or a friend, or a family member that's close. It can derail you. For those of you who know that I lost my mother in September 11th, in the terrorist attack on September 11th, know that I still, every single year, I'm really kind of at a lull in that September time because there's no shape around grief, right? There's no timeline. It sticks with you, and the way that memories work, and when you have challenges, like for me, I especially miss my mom when I'm having a hard time. So again, face it. Let's not think of it as failure. Let's think of it as an obstacle, as a challenge. This is what it was, but those things can be overcome. And let's get to the next question. What did you learn from the challenges that you had in 2020? What are the things that happened teach you? For me, I learned that as good as I think I am at communicating, I can be better, and that something that is a skill can also be something that you need to, or should also be something that you need to continue to work on. I learned that I needed to be stronger in saying no, and I needed to be more strategic in saying yes. And for folks who have expectations, and we all have family, friends, spouses, etc., who have, or coworkers, bosses, who have expectations of us, and sometimes we're not willing and or able to meet those things. And so think about, what is it that you have learned from those challenges? Have you learned that you need to learn more? Have you learned that you need to say no? Have you learned that people are expecting too much from you? Oh, this is my favorite. I learned to be humble and to ask for help. High five on that one. That is not an easy thing to do, something that I still struggle with. And it's one of my commitments for 2020, which is to be more overt about asking for things when I need it. So there's a preview on that. So think about this again. Write those things down. Don't just sit here and listen to me. There's a power that happens when you write something down. Connect pen to paper or connect hand to keyboard. It is you're putting for those of you who are on the phone that are lawyers or lawyers to be, or former lawyers, there's a power in actually writing it down and committing to yourself. Speaking of committing to yourself, think about this. What can you commit to doing differently in 2020, given what you know about what you accomplished, what your challenges were, what you learned? What can you commit to doing differently? Oh, I've got a ton of things that I'm committing to doing differently, just because the things that I had been doing were not serving me. They were not getting me where I wanted to be, and so I need to do things differently. And I'm encouraging you to do that with me. So one person says, I've learned to protect my mental health and who and what I will allow into my cipher and my spirit. Facts, strategically planning my time and priorities accordingly. Wonderful. Again, like even as you write those down or even hear me say it, think about that. I am protecting my mental health, right? If something doesn't serve you, why are we doing it, right? And there may be reasons, but I would like us to think about those reasons as ones that we're choosing as opposed to that we're letting happen to us. If any of you have seen me or heard me speak before, I say this all the time. My mother used to say, you can either be the wind or the leaf. And I'm encouraging all of us in our lives to be the wind. That is us saying that we want to do differently and we want to strategize about doing so. I see that someone has asked a question using the platform. I'm going to open it up. I think you guys will be able to see it, but I'm going to open it to see what it is. Okay. So the Menti code is menti.com, and it is it's 137152. And a couple of you said that you weren't able to use it. Some of you are, so I know it's working. So Menti is MENTI.com. Actually, I can do this little fancy thing right here. Watch this. Oh. Don't mind my handwriting because this is men. See? And that's an I. Okay, and that's .com, and then the code is 13. This looks like a killer's writing this. Apologies. 71. That's a 7. 1. And then 5. 2. Okay, my 2 is going to be really challenged. Sorry. Good luck. Anyway, so Menti.com, code 137152. You don't need to put any spaces in there. You don't need to put any dashes. So I see some of you are using it, so please do try to use it again because I can't keep going back onto this other this tool. It just becomes it blocks the screen. So sorry. The other thing you can do is, if you want, you can email me, but that'll be I'll be delayed on that one too. So try to use the Menti again, and it'll come up again, especially during the Q&A piece. All right, so let's keep going. So I encourage everybody to think of a theme or motto for every year. So last year, my theme, my motto, my word of the year was manifest. And I manifested a lot of things. And so I have my word for this year, but I want you to think, what might your word be for this year? What might you use to drive you so that when you connect back to it, when you see that word, when you pop it up on your screensaver, whatever you do with it, it will remind you of the commitments that you've made to yourself for this year. So think about what that word might be. Feel free to share it using Menti. Again, the code is, you're going to go to menti.com, and the code is 137152, or you can find the link in your email. I sent it right before this session. Okay, my bad. So So what happened was I put the code in wrong. These things happen. So 137152. Ooh, I love this one. So someone chose victorious, and somebody chose Phoenix, rebirth, no limits, which is very similar to the one that I have. So I'm going to share with you in a moment. But I would like you to really think. Don't leave today's session without having the word. You may not want to do all the other things, but you need a word to help drive you so that it will hold you accountable every single time you see this word. You'll be like, oh, I got to get to this thing. I got to do this thing, or it'll make you feel good, so I want you to use it. So, another one, strategize. Yes. My why is my motto. Focus, realignment, energy, overcome. These are fantastic action words that will keep you motivated. Let me share with you my word. Dun, dun, dun. My word for 2020 is limitless. I don't want any limits on who I can be, what I can do, how much money I can make, how much love I can give, how much I can grow, how much I can learn. All of those things for me are limitless. And that's what's going to drive me this year. And so if you have not chosen the words yet, I'm going to bestow upon you my word until you find your own. But I want you to think limitless. Now here, there's going to be a couple of homework assignments in this, but here's one. If you're on social media, what I would love, as all of you know, I love branding, is go to Twitter, take a screenshot, go to Instagram, go to Facebook, tag me, put in my motto or theme for the year is whatever your word is, hashtag thanks Coach Paula, hashtag Coach Paula, hashtag MBBA learned. Use social. I mean, basically what we're trying to do is give other people some of this momentum. I think that if we're not creating a wave for others, not just ourselves, we're not doing what we need to do either. So, and let's do it using social media. That's what it's for. It's not called anti-social media. It's social. So use that. I'm still waiting to see some words. If you want to share them, please feel free to do so. I'm going to talk about some best practices now about goal setting that will be helpful. So I saw a stat, a piece of science that said something like, by the time you hit February, people who have set, their New Year's resolutions or have committed to something have already failed, have already stopped or given up. That's unacceptable. We're not doing that this year. So I want to talk about the things that you need to do in order to make sure you hit the goals that you're setting, or at least the majority of them, okay? Like, I looked at my goal sheet for last year and I was like, whoa, so apparently I thought I was going to clone myself. But let's go, because I want to talk about this. So for goal settings, you need to be able to say what your goals are. As I mentioned before, when you write your goal down, when you state your goal, when you tell somebody your goal, you are essentially making a contract with the universe. You're saying, this is what I'm going to do. And it helps. Oh, I saw another word that I love, service. For those of you who know, when I was the president of MBBA, I used to sign all of my statements to all of you with or in service, because we should all be, right? Whether that is because you are a leader, but just in general, if you're just doing something for yourself, you're not really impacting the way that you need to. And so think about how, in all the things you can do without overextending yourself, because we also don't want to do that, how you can be of service to others. Ooh, another word for the year, advantage. Love it. All right, so goal setting 101 is, in order to really have an effective goal, it has to be a SMART goal. So SMART goals are what you see on the screen. They're specific. So this is not like, I'm going to just bring joy in 2020. This is, I'm going to bring joy by dating 5 men this month and making sure that for each one of them, I get a meal that I like. Right? Specific, measurable, in time frame, right? It is, of course, I'm being facetious. But if you want to take that, go for it. Take that goal. But it has to be attainable. It has to be relevant, right? Something connected to what you want, and time bound, right? I don't want to just bring joy in 2020. I want to bring joy by May, or something to that effect, so that you're making a statement that has oomph to it. So some of you provided some goals that you have, and so I'm going to read some of these off. I want to attain a new job, expand my personal and professional network, and increase my income. So I'm going to take one of those. I want to obtain a new job by, and because I'm a career coach and an executive coach, a good time frame for job search is 6 months. And the person who wrote this might be like, 6 months. I'm telling you that if you get it before that, yay. But a good time for getting a job is 6 months, because you set the intention now. You make sure you have all of the things that you need, your resume, your LinkedIn. You start engaging your network. You start doing informational interviews. You start using connections in order to get those jobs. It usually takes up to 6 months. So say that. I want to attain a job in my field, making 20% more than I make now by May or June of 2020. That job will have me excited to go into it. It will increase my learning. It will have me be able to expand my skill set. Be as specific as you can. Let's see. I want to be admitted to the bar, excel in my new work position, be comfortable networking. So I'm going to gather all of the things I need to be admitted to the bar and hopefully be registered and done all these things by June. That really depends on where you are in the process, right? I want to increase my income streams. I want to increase my income streams by doing X. And how much? By how much do I want to increase my income streams? That means you need to know what your income is now and how much more do you want to get. I want to work on my personal life. So that's too broad. If that means that you don't want to be cold by cuffing season 2020, that means you have to say that. So I want to have found someone to be a partner who I like, who is tall, who is smart, who is employed, who is attractive. Whatever your things are, say them. Be specific about them, because even if you don't get Idris Elba, which you won't because Idris Elba's mine, you will still get the majority of what you're looking for. It won't be sort of superfluous. Someone says, I want somebody who has teeth. That's a baseline. That's hilarious. Yes, teeth would be nice. Anywho, so somebody says, I want to be a judge within the 2021 election year. Great. So for the person who said that, how do you do that? Have you already engaged your network? Do you have a committee together who will fundraise for you? Is your platform set? Do you have a website? Do you know what you need to know in order to become a judge? Have you already submitted your paperwork? Actually write down the things that you need to do to get to that goal. Motto. So motto of the year, another one. Progress through purposeful planning and positioning. First of all, whoever wrote that must know that I love alliteration. Like, there's a lot of P's there. Progress through purposeful planning and positioning. Love it. That means strategy. So again, these are some really great ways to be strategic about your goals. Don't just say, I want to be better. How do you want to be better? What do you want to learn? By when? With whom? What do you need? Another goal for 2020, reduce clutter. Child. So for those of you who are West Indian or any other culture that does the purge before the end of the year, you may, those of you who know me might hear my voice has a little bit of a frog in it. I got sick, and so I wasn't able to do the full purge that you do, where you go through every single room to decide what you don't want. For those of you who know who Marie Kondo is, does this thing bring me joy? But usually at the end, the end of the year, going into the new year, I have gotten rid of a ton of things, because let's be frank, we collect a lot of stuff we don't need. Like, I looked at tons of tote bags that I had from conferences that I was never going to use, things like that. So think about, if you're going to say, I'm going to declutter, what? I'm going to declutter my whole home. Yes, by when? And how are you going to start? I would start with, I'm going to declutter that one drawer, right? Do things that will help you feel momentum. I'm going to declutter my room. I'm going to go through my drawers, whatever that is. But when you make it too big, it becomes untenable, and then you get overwhelmed and disappointed. Let's see, another one. Ah, I want to work on me so that I will be able to attract a man who is kind, compassionate, loving, a man of God, who is working and confident in himself, who will be supportive, where we can work to develop a relationship that will grow and make us happy. I love that. The only thing I would edit on that one is a couple things there. I want you to talk about what he looks like, right? I want to attract a man who is attractive and who has a goatee, who is tall, who is short, who has a wave. And you might think that it sounds kind of I'm being funny, and yeah, I am. But the more that you can specify what you want, the better. You may not get that person who looks exactly like that you're listing out may not walk through the door, but there is a momentum in saying, and especially telling other people, this is what I want. So do that. And when you say who's working, I would up that ante. Who is working in a job that X, right? Like not just working. You could be working at the bodega. I want you to be working in a career, right? Like make it specific, make it really impactful. And it's okay to dream. Like goals should be audacious. Goals should be like where you're like, oh my God, I'm afraid that I even just said that goal. Good, because guess what? If we're not going to do it, what's the point? What's the point? Like this is it's us. We are the ones who are going to live this life as long as we've been given this opportunity. So we might as well make it that we can get as much magic as we can. I'm going to read through a couple more goals, and then while I am reading through these goals, you can look at the question on the screen. What are 5 goals you have for 2020? And outside of those 5 goals, what are 2 stretch goals for 2020 that are not in the 5 listed? And again, you don't have to write these all down now. You might have already started, and feel free if you want to share them with me on the screen, you can do so. But I'll keep going through the ones that I've already received. I want to read more. Me too. So what I had to do in order to know myself, which is a big part of goal setting, is understanding yourself, is to say, Paula, what is preventing you from reading? Ever since I graduated law school all those years ago, I've had a hard time just picking up a book and reading. Like it just really took me out of my want to read. So it had to be that I was reading with other people. So I joined book clubs, right? Because that gave me accountability. It also, and for those of you who are looking for book clubs, and if you're a woman attorney, ABWA, Association of Black Women Attorneys, they have a book club. But there's online book clubs. A lot of authors who write books have their own book clubs. So you could try that. There are meetups. If you go to meetup.com, where you can find other folks who want to read and commit to. So think about doing that. But what I did is I redefined reading. So I have now embraced audiobooks. And so it's ingesting information. It's just not me sitting there with the book. But because I thought I was cheating when I was doing that, I started to read along with hearing the words. And what I like about that is it's actually hitting 2 adult learning styles at one time. When you hear and read, so like if I read you something on the screen while you hear me say it, you learn it in a different way. And so I'm helping to advance my learning by listening and reading my books at the same time. So if that's helpful to you, I commend it to you. If you don't want to take it to that next level, just start with the audiobooks. Just get the information in your head. Like, for example, I listened to Becoming by Michelle Obama, and then I listened to it and read it on the audiobook at the same time, and it was so much better hearing her voice. It was like she was reading me a story. So I was like, oh, my God, Michelle Obama is like in my house reading to me. For those of you who have read the recent book that's come out, The Memo by Minda Harts, I read it first, and then I did the same thing and read it and listened to it on audiobook, which was great because you kind of hear the inflection of the author, the emphasis, and it just makes the experience a little more interactive, and it helps me to learn and retain the information more. So to the extent that that's helpful to you, good. So, okay. So let's see. While you're still writing, you still should be, and I especially want to hear, I'd like for you to share one of your stretch goals. So a stretch goal is something that, like, for example, a goal I have this year is I want to lose 15 pounds because I have gained 20, right? And so I want to lose 15 pounds. So that's not a stretch goal. That's an attainable goal. I can do that, and I want to do that. You'll see on the next screen by the MBBA Gala, which is my favorite event of the year, so I can get into the dress that I already have for it. Now, a stretch goal would be I want to lose 30 pounds by the end of the year. That's probably not gonna happen. I'm just gonna keep it real, but it might, right? Like I could say I want to, lose 30 pounds or get into, a size dress. That might be one. Another stretch goal might be I want to engage weekly on LinkedIn for 3 months straight. Now, for those of you, and a lot of people ask about social media, and I have something to tell you at the end of this. For those of you who are not on social media, who don't engage and are trying to build your brand, I always tell you, and I'm going to say it again, social media, especially LinkedIn, for those of you who are professionals, is the biggest, most effective way to build your brand with the least amount of effort needed. And if you can prioritize it, then you can do that. But that might be a stretch goal if you're like, I'm not doing anything at all right now. Like, that's a stretch. So, speaking of which, a goal just came in to get on social media actively. Oh, good. And start using it to present my strengths and accomplishments as the year progresses. Being so private is limiting my marketability to people, clients who are very social media driven. Oh, yeah. I'll say this because I know, for those of you who are lawyers, I know not everybody on the line is a lawyer. It's this sort of conundrum we have, right, where we know that privacy is going to be a huge human rights issue as we go forward. We know that some of the things that we just agree to as in privacy settings is not okay. And yet, if we're not there, we are losing out. And so I say find your sweet spot. Find a place where you can be comfortable and be on it. But it's not being on it. I'm just telling you, there are more people who are looking at you sideways for not being on social media than there are people who are not. So if that's enough incentive, good. So, okay. I'm just scrolling down to see what else we have here. Okay. All right. So I'm going to show you some more examples as you all set or send me yours. Sorry, my screen froze. Okay. Make partner by December 2020. Earn enough money to what? That could be whatever you want, to go on vacation at the end of the year, to be like half of my friends are in Ghana right now for the year of the return. I'm not hating, I'm hating. I want to be selected for a specific type of case at my job. I want to build my skill set. I want to meet 20 potential contacts in the next 2 months. I want to self-development. I want to, like, reading more is a great one. I want to learn more about a skill that I need. Or so maybe, maybe that may be I want to, learn to speak well, better in front of folks to the public, right? So you might sign up for Toastmasters, or you might put yourself out there with, again, one of those audacious goals and say, I want to speak on a panel, right? Most of you on the line are MBBA members. There is so much opportunity for you to say, I have an idea for an event, pitch it to our VP of programs, our president, me, whomever, one of the officers, and let's get it happening. That could be via webinar, that could be an in-person panel, but there's tons of opportunity for you to do whatever it is you want. Okay, so another goal, excuse me, to become more tech savvy. We're going to talk about some ways to do that. To stop being private on social media, to embrace social media, to become more, I said that, to get on my Peloton bike, I said a week of 2020, but I'm guessing each week of 2020. First of all, claps to you for getting a Peloton. I look at that commercial, and I'm like, yay, look at that bicycle, but the way my body's set up, I don't think I can do that. But anyway, a stretch goal, get a speaking engagement. So again, if you are an attorney, even if you're not, if you went to undergrad, go speak to the alumni office. Ask them if there's speaking opportunities at the school. You can do that for law school. You can do it with bar associations, professional organizations. There's tons of ways to get speaking engagements. Now, if you're trying to get a speaking engagement and have it be paid, maybe that's another webinar that I'll do, and you can let me know if that's something you're interested in. But one thing that I wrote down in my goal list is I'm only going to speak for free for organizations that I'm a member of and I'm committed to their mission. Everybody else has to pay because that's how I get paid. Right? That's how my kids eat. My kids don't like ramen, they like steak. So I got to get them steak. That's part of my goals for this year. Okay, what else do we have here? Screen is frozen. Let me close this. Hold on. Okay, so come tech savvy, I got that. Oh, there's a lot coming in, that's why. All right, I'll wait for these to come in, and let's look what we have on the screen. So the last one is mine. Lose 15 pounds before the MBBA gala. Like, again, for those of you who have been to the MBBA gala know that I like to wear different dresses, and I like it's a thing for me. So just because I am committed to that as being my fun thing for the year, I want it to be one in which I'm looking the way I want to look. And if you know I'm on social media, I always do outfits of the day. And one of the reasons why I knew that I was not sort of where I was last year in terms of my momentum is that I hadn't been posting, I hadn't been doing some of the things I love to do social media-wise. And so I needed that reminder. So I thank the folks who did give me that reminder. Okay. Ooh, to restart my gym activity. So, restart my gym activity. So this is what I'm going to share with you what I have done. So I have an online trainer. It's virtual. We do it through Facebook Live. He is fantastic. If you're interested in who he is and how it works, happy to share with you that information. Just send me an email. But it's good for me because I don't have to go anywhere. I don't like to sweat with people, and also because I can't make an excuse. So if I'm traveling, I still have my laptop, I still have internet connection, so I have to commit to doing this. Let's see. Stretch goals, learn to fundraise for me. So yes, I would love to talk about fundraising, and maybe that's, again, another webinar that we can do. Fundraising, the baseline thesis of how to fundraise is that you have to know people and people have to like you. People give money to people who they like, and that's what makes it hard, because if you are not one of those people who ask often, it becomes challenging. And I know that for many of us, we were not raised to be askers. Okay, let's see. Stretch goal, own a third home in 2020. Yes, snap, 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 snap. And another goal, to become certified as an MBBA within 6 months. So for those of you who don't know what an MBBA is it's a minority and women business enterprise. And so New York City and New York State have a distinction where if you're a business owner and you've owned your business for over a year and you are a person of color or a woman or both, you can be eligible for specific opportunities and funds based on that status. And so to the person who posted that, yes, I am MBBA certified, both through my old entities and through my new entities. And so I encourage all of you to do so. The city and state have committed to billions of spending, billions, that's with a B, in this category. And so if you are not doing that and you are a business owner, you're losing out on money that could be there for you. Okay, so what else? My screen keeps freezing. Don't freeze. All right, so do's and don'ts. Here's some do's. You need to be specific. I think that I made the point enough for you to get it, that it can't be kind of a wishy-washy, like, I want to look good. Great. How are you going to do that? Are you going to go to MAC or to Sephora or to Ulta to go and get your face redone? And the answer is yes, you should, because I think that a lot of folks tend to have a look that they've had for the last 15 years and think that it's cool. And for some of you, maybe it is, but why not try to see if there's any new techniques or new skincare opportunities or new lipsticks that you can try? And that's for the women. And for the men, a little bit of lotion and a little bit of chapstick never hurt anybody. For those of you who know me, I always say people connect with you through your eyes and your lips. And if your lips aren't doing something, and that just means that the baseline not being ashy, you are losing out on tons of opportunity, especially if you're trying to date. All right, so I'm going to commit to a monthly meeting with myself where I revisit goals and make plans to achieve them. Yes. I'll share another tip that I have for you. So my husband and I have been, for those of you who know me, I keep saying for those of you who know, if you don't know me, still. My husband and I have been married for 16 years, 17 this year, and we have committed to, number one, making sure we prioritize date nights, but number two, meeting to strategically talk about our individual goals and our joint goals monthly. So we put it on the calendar, and that might mean talking about our kids, finances, home, where we are business-wise. We're both business owners as well. So do that, which leads me to finding a support system. Who is in your support system? Who is in your squad? Do you have a list of people who you can go to for resources, for their opinion, who will give you the actual thing you need to hear, not just what you want to hear. And if the answer is no, you got to get somebody or somebodies to be that for you, because it's hard to do this by yourself. I have folks who will reach out to me, and I honor you all this year, and we're like, hey, where are you with your book? Or hey, where are you with the weight loss? And it was like, oh, what had happened was, but it did kind of recatalyze me to be like, okay, other people are watching, so it's not just me in it; it's people in it with you, and it just helps for when you go out and you're like, let me have extra bacon, and they're like, extra bacon. I thought you want to get in that dress. Actually, don't do that to me because I like bacon. But anyway, all right. The other thing is tracking your progress. Like I mentioned, if you have a big goal, so I'll use a weight loss one because it's a tangible one that we all kind of think about, or at least all the folks I know. If you want to lose 15 pounds by May, how many months do we have until May? What does that mean per month? So that if you lose 1 pound in January, then you can lose 4 pounds in February, right? Like it doesn't have to be all or nothing. It is, what are the smaller ways I can break this down so that I can achieve this, and feel that momentum and be better off because of it. So that's how you should think about this. Okay. And don't forget, I know you're putting comments on here, but you can also ask questions. And I have a bunch of questions from you already, but that I'm going to get to in the Q&A, but I want to make sure that I'm addressing any additional questions that you might have too. Okay. All right, so don't focus on too many things at one time. So I think one of the reasons that the science shows that by February people are like, bye Felicia, to all their goals, or their New Year's the New Year's goals, is because they try to do everything at once. They're like, okay, I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to gain 15 contacts. I'm going to paint my house, give it a clutter. And it's like, okay, I'm overwhelmed hearing it, so you must be overwhelmed trying to do it. So think about, what are the priorities? Like if you're making a list of goals, what comes first, right? And if you're picking them out, it should be what you want to do first. What's most important to you? And I'm going to show you a strategy that I use to help me with that, because I pick different categories, and then I pick the top thing in order in each of the categories versus just in general, and that's helpful to me. The question is, will the slides be available after? No, but the recording will be, so you'll be able to see the slides via the recording, but I don't send my slides out, but you'll be able to see it when with the recording, and it'll be up on YouTube. So forget to give yourself a deadline. So this could be, I'm going to say, where am I on February 14th, which is my birthday? Where am I here in terms of my goals? I think you should do this monthly anyway, just because it's just helpful, and we'll talk about that in a minute. If you have a setback shouldn't be a shutdown. A setback should be, it didn't go the way I wanted to, let me reset and get this going again. Okay, let's see. Do I have a vision board? Oh, do I? I have. So today I'm doing my vision board today, and I'm going to walk you through at the end of this on how to do your vision board, a strategy that I have. Stretch goal, pitch venture fund idea to investors by December, run a marathon. Yes, yes, yes. All right. So before we get into this, you must commit to celebrating your wins. It's kind of like when people are like, I said I was going to climb a mountain, but I only got to the second summit. I mean, think about, there are people still sitting on their couch. You got to the second summit. Like, think about that. Like, think about what you were able to do. And as you're doing them, clap yourself, clap for yourself. Like I tell my kids, clap for you because you've done it. I'm going to quickly run through some tools and resources, and this is where I want you to pay the most attention. And I want to remind you that one of your exercises, one of your homework, is to shout this out on social media, that I started the year off with Coach Paula, that I'm going to commit to doing these things. My word of the year is this. Don't let it go. Like, it will be a commitment for yourself. So, tools that you should be using, your calendar. If you said right now, I'm going to set up a quarterly, a weekly, a monthly, whatever feels good for you, thing in my calendar for me to check in with myself for an hour, to see how I'm doing, to revisit my goal sheet and check in, that will be helpful. Do that. One of the biggest things that you said about the inability for you to get your goals done last year is time. And so I want to talk to you about two things. Number one, I don't think that we get enough sleep. And by we, I mean me. I don't get enough sleep. And so I'm committing to going to bed earlier and also waking up a half hour earlier than I want to. And I say that with eyes rolling, but I also know that half an hour when you wake up in the morning before you have anything you have to do. So that's not a half an hour to start getting ready. It's a half an hour you're choosing to put towards that goal. So if you're a writer, I'm going to write in that half an hour. If you want to incorporate a meditation practice, I'm going to meditate in that half an hour. For me, it will be I'm going to sit and goal set for the day in that half an hour and meditate for 10 minutes. The Pomodoro method is, for those of you who took my time management webinar, this is a method, you can Google it, where you are able to accomplish tasks by doing it this way. You take 20 minutes of working solely on one thing, no alarms, no beeping, no notifications from your phone, not looking at your email, only focusing on that one thing for 20 minutes and then 10 minutes off. And you can do as many of those chunks as you want throughout the day in order to accomplish a task. I use this when I have to set up do a PowerPoint or write an article, etc. And it's a really good strategy to get it done. And if you have an office at work, you can put up a sign that says, do not disturb, and take it down after 20 minutes. But you have to commit to finding that time. For those of you who like to journal, I think it's a really great way to check in with yourself. How am I feeling? How am I doing? Journal. For my weight loss people, Fitbit, what weight loss app might you want to use, or a spreadsheet where you're tracking, you weigh yourself every Monday morning or every Sunday night or whatever it is, tracking the workouts that you're doing. I love Fitbit because it tells me, get up. It tells me you haven't done enough steps for the day. So whatever you like, you should use. Project planning. So what I tend to do is put my goals into a project planner and then break out what I need to do in order to get them done, the subtasks. And I use Asana, Trello. You can use a spreadsheet, you can use a to-do list, whatever is helpful for you. But those are two that I found to be very helpful visually, which that's the kind of learner that I am. One of the reasons why I want to do this webinar every year at the beginning of the year is because I like to motivate you and motivate myself at the same time. But the way that I commit to motivation on an annual basis, a daily basis, is I use ShineText, which is an app, and it's also a text service where every morning it sends you a text, and it's like something inspirational or motivational or an article or a mantra. It just makes me feel good. And then I also have a web browser that, if any of you have seen my browser, it says Paula is the greatest, and that's true. And so I like to just remind myself, it's kind of a self-motivation, but you can modify it to say whatever you want it to say. You can just say your name. It can say, hi, you. And it has quotes on it. You can do countdowns, and I just like it. There's a free version. There's a paid version. The paid version is like $40 a year. But for me, every single time I pull up my browser, which is, every other minute, it just feels good to be inspired. Reading. My friend Corey Carew is a big fan of Brene Brown. I put it on here because of that. I'm a big fan of Oprah Winfrey. I don't care whoever inspires you. Try to read more by them. Try to engage more so that your mind is doing what it needs to do. But as I mentioned, I realized that I'm getting much more benefit from listening. And so I have been obsessed with podcasts. And one of my goals this year is to launch a podcast. And so when I do, I will make sure to let you all know via social media, so make sure you connect with me. But I want to launch a podcast. And listening to podcasts is a really great way to use your travel time, like when you're on the subway or if you're driving in. So when people say, I don't have time, think about the passive time that you have where you can't actually type or do something, but you can listen and use podcasts. If you're like me and you never want to ever walk into another school again unless that school is paying you to speak, you can still learn, right? You can go to CLEs. You can do webinars like this one. LinkedIn has a LinkedIn Learning section where you can take courses for free for tons of different topics. Udemy is a website, and actually they have a sale today where they have online courses that you can take. They're self-paced. YouTube. You can type in pretty much anything you want into YouTube to learn how to do. Um, so there's no excuse other than unless you don't want to do it. And I really don't want to take that excuse. I want you to do it. Okay. So how do you and Hubs prioritize date night without sending spouse the wrong signal when things come up? In a busy world, things come up. So date night's the only thing that I don't cancel. So because the baseline of my life is happiness with my partner, I prioritize him. So those of you who hang out with me know that I tend to try to bring him to things with me now, because then it's killing two birds with one stone, and I don't have to think about the other prioritization. But the first thing is, if you do have to cancel, apologize, right? Say, this is not my intention. It's not what I want to do, but because of work issues, I have to do it X. And then in that same time, reschedule so that you make that a priority. But I would, some date night could be date breakfast, right? Date night could be, let's have lunch together. Date night could be, let's wake up an hour before the kids get up and just cuddle, just be with each other. So don't make it, it doesn't have to be a big thing, but it's just spending time with the person that you love. So this next two, get a therapist, was my biggest come up for 2019. I've had therapists off and on for years, but didn't really commit to it as a part of my professional development. And let me tell you, she has saved lives this year. So get a therapist. On the flip side, a therapist is not a coach. So you should also think about getting a coach. And you can get a coach for a little bit of time or a long time. So as you all know, I'm a coach, but I am no longer taking individual clients. So this is not a pitch for my coaching. I'm only doing group coaching and coaching for some of my other clients. And my docket is very narrow now. So sorry, but I am putting together a list of people who are coaches as well, so that when people ask me for referrals, I can send them to you. But you should get a coach. I have my own coach. It's like outsourcing. Like, I don't like cleaning my house, so I have somebody to clean it, right? Like, do the things you need to do to get what you want to get. Okay, so remember, setbacks are going to happen. If you beat yourself up, you make it easy for other people to do so. So stop. Don't do that. The same things that you have done before, if you continue to do them now, you're going to get the same results. So if it's, I don't know why going to sleep at 4 o'clock in the morning and waking up at 7:30 is not working for me, maybe you should not do that. But I want to acknowledge that change is not easy. It's not. It's uncomfortable. But the benefit of when you do it and you do it well is wonderful. So think about, what are you willing to give up to accomplish what you want? Speaking of my therapist, she says this, and I want to share this with you. Let me go back to my notes, because this was a really big lesson for me. So I was complaining to her about, oh my God, I haven't lost weight, and I feel and she said, you have chosen to not prioritize yourself by eating badly and not exercising. And I was like, what? Why do you say that? Like, don't talk to me like that. And she said, you are choosing not to prioritize yourself. So if you think, when I say I'm not doing X, that you're consciously choosing, like you're making a decision to do the other thing versus this thing, it kind of it hits a little different. And for me, it was like, holy crap, I have to think about it. It's the accountability piece of this is huge. That doesn't mean we're going to be perfect all the time, but we have to accept that there are times, like I'm saying, I'm going to stay up late and watch TV versus write this article. And when you can assess and be aware and take accountability, it's better. Then you're not beating yourself up, but you're saying, I'm choosing this, which can be hard. So our last piece, before I get into one quick thing, is I want you to visualize your wins. On December 31st, 2020, what will you have accomplished? How much money is going to be in your bank account? Who's going to be sitting next to you or lying next to you? What will you look like? What are you going to be wearing? What business will you have started? What will, I don't know, whatever that is for you, actually visualize. Close your eyes. Think of what you're wearing, what you're looking like, who's there. That's a helpful thing to do. Now, a vision board, which somebody mentioned before, is a visual representation of your goals. This is, my goal is to do X, but you're using pictures or writing the words out in order to do so. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to email you all a form that you can use to do this, and I'll show you what it looks like in a minute. But it's breaking down your professional goals, your financial goals, your personal goals, your travel goals, volunteerism, stretch goals. all in a way that you can kind of like segment them out and then put in pictures, or, like I have Barbados on mine because I'm going to Barbados this year, but I also want to go to Africa, so I'm going to find an Africa picture. Put it down, write it down. It's helpful. So I'm going to send you the updated form for this one. It shows you on the left all the different areas, and then on the right, you put your theme word in the middle, and then you kind of build it out, your vision board. So I'm going to email that to you after this. But if you look in the handouts on your dashboard, there's a handout, there's a PDF there, and you should grab it. It says, where does it say? If you go to the handouts on your dashboard, it says Year Compass Booklet. So somebody shared this with me, and it is wonderful. If you open it up now, you can download the PDF. And for those of you who are listening to the recording, it's yearcompass.com. Excuse me, it's a free resource where there's a handout that helps you to think about what you did well in the year previous and then what you need to do better as you go forward. And I really loved it. I did it this year, and it was life-changing for me. I mean, I do this every year, but it really did help. So I know that I started to speed up after this, but I wanted to commit to the time frame that we had set forward. You all, I really can't wait to see what you do. Here's your homework. If you're not already connected with me on LinkedIn, you need to do that. If you're on Twitter, connect with me at Paula Edgar. If you're on Instagram, follow me at the Paula Edgar. I want you to post. I want you to say, at a minimum, this is my word or my theme of the year. Tag MBBA NYC. Tag hashtag MBBA Learns. And hashtag Coach Paula at me. I want to see how we kill it this year. There's a great momentum that exists in not just it being the beginning of a new year, but it's the beginning of a new decade. And so I wish you the best of luck, but you don't need it because now you have all the tools and skills. I will send you all the YouTube link, and it will be up on our website. It'll be in the MBBA's newsletter. For those of you who are paying and like, oh, I paid. Yes, you paid for the live version of this. But what we're always trying to do is make it that we all are successful in 2020. So when I send you the link, please send it to other people. Share it with your friends. Let's get all of our goals together. And please do connect with me. Like I said, I don't want to do this alone. If you're looking for someone to speak at your organization or for pay, like I said, here I am, and you can visit me at inclusionstrategy.com or paulaedgar.com. And my love language is referral, so please do refer me. And Happy New Year, and let's kill it. So I look forward to hearing from you. I'll send you the form via email if you registered. If you didn't register and you're listening to the recording of this, if you send me a message on LinkedIn or Twitter, etc., then I'll send it to you after this as well. So good luck and God bless. Happy New Year. Bye-bye.